Okay, guys, good to see you. Now let me, I gotta stop my video here. Hold on, I gotta pop my video out. Video player, well done. So, Andy, of course, is first. And we'll see. I maybe not gave enough people enough room, or I sent it out without the right setup. So this is a brand new system that we're working on here. Hold on a second here. Okay, so yeah, Andy, this is good. This is good. I'm trying to, oh, and reply and answer, I see. So if I say, yes, Andy, you are the first one that I've done. Very good. So we're testing this. For those of you watching, this is the first time that we've run this. And by the way, I think somewhere. Okay, guys, good to see you. Now let me. I gotta stop my video here. Hold on. We're gonna find bugs. See, and one of them is that when I hide the video, it seems like I'm still getting audio back. So thanks for being getting. Andy, of course, is first. And we'll see. I maybe not gave enough people enough room, or I sent it out without the right setup. So this is a brand here. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to leave that off. I think that it doesn't, Andy, just so you know, it doesn't doesn't quite work the way I planned it to work. So when I hit hide, I think it still played the video. I think if I hit hide without actually playing the video, I'll be okay, but it seems to be existing somewhere in the back. So, all right, so let's jump into these questions here. Not a lot of voting yet. You can vote, of course, if you want to. Matthew Davies, and one thing, Andy. Oh, okay. Matthew just didn't put where he's from in his when he signed it, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that one. So how often do you do these? I do these more often when we're testing, and then less often when I'm doing other production. So there's not a specific time. I've been thinking about doing them regularly, but I'm not willing to commit to anything because people complain when I don't do it. So I just kind of pop them up when especially when we're testing the new system, which is what we're doing right now. This is the brand new question system, and we're just trying to see, kick the tires and see how it works. So anyways, it's cool. Next question here is from let's see here, is from Grant Whitehead. Said, any tips with Wirecast and YouTube Live, 720p versus 1080p, 264 versus x264, high bit rate versus low? So some of that obviously depends on what you are, what you're streaming. We still use H.264 for most of the stuff that we've been doing. We haven't done a lot of X264. I don't have a strong opinion about it. It's just been, we haven't had time to really kick it through put it through all the paces that it would require for us to switch over. So anyway, so that's what's kind of waiting there. The 720p versus 1080p, it really depends on what you're doing, but my whole thing about it is I don't really know who's watching at 1080p. So most of our stuff has been 720p. One of the problems that we've had is a lot of the hardware that we're using is still limited to 1080i, which we really don't want to stream. We don't want to stream anything that's interlaced. So the new Blackmagic stuff that we're buying can all do 1080p. So we think that we'll slowly start moving that direction, but a lot of the switchers and some of the infrastructure that we have has been 1080i limited, and so that's left us using 720p. I think that's fine for the web right now, but I do think that we're already getting ready to experiment with 4K, doing more with 1080p, so we're talking about it. We just haven't committed to anything yet. But I think 720p for most things is going to be fine. The bit rate for YouTube Live, typically a 720p stream at 4 megs a second is what we would suggest. I think that you can get down to 1.5 and still get a reasonably good signal, but anything below 1.5, you're going to start to see, variations in the quality that would be better. So anyway, so that's the thing to think about. Yeah, again, our standard is typically a 4 meg stream. Okay, done. It's going to be a really short one if no one else shows up. All right, here we go. Next one is from Scott Newland. And it said, Alex, I would like to see the green screen class that you did a few weeks ago. Did you record it, and where can I see it? I don't know if we have that online right now. We might. We were going to do some adjustments to it and make, change some stuff. So we just have to figure that, figure that out. So yeah, I have to figure, we can figure that out. But it will put on. The problem is that a lot of times we're doing things to experiment, and that was one big experiment. And so I don't know if we left it online or not. Usually I go, oh, let's change like 6 other things and do it again. So we may do another class that'll be even better than the first one, and then that'll be the next one. So that's kind of where that's at right now. Okay, next question. Next question is from Stephen Hart in Canada. Any recommendations for a stabilizer for a tripod-mounted camera on ground that will have big vibrations? I don't have a recommendation. We just had a problem with that recently too. We were on a raised floor, and every time someone walked by, we got vibrations. I don't really know. I don't know if I don't know what to do there. But that's a good question. It makes me have to think about that for a little bit. All right. Next question. Sorry, I didn't have a better answer for that one. What type of system are you running this on? Well, this is from Rob Goshko in Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. And by the way, if you're wondering where these questions are all coming from, and you're watching this on YouTube or on G+, you can go to bit.ly/Ask-Alex-4, and you'll see me there. So we built this all on Heroku, as you can probably see from the URL. But this is all programmed by Andy, who's around here somewhere. I think he asked the first question. So Andy, and he'll be on one of these with me in a week or so. So stay tuned for that. But so anyway, but we wrote it all ourselves. This has been an itch that we've been trying to scratch for a while, and Andy's doing a great job at putting it all together. So that's pretty much what we're doing so far. Let us know if you like it. We keep on, trying to improve it, make it better. You should try to watch it on an iPhone, iPad, all that other fun stuff as well. And this one's, by the way, Andy just does seem to perform a lot better. Next question here. How much does Pixcore charge for streaming a live event? This is from Adam Cook, pretty deep question. The basic costs are between $4,000 and $6,000 to start, and then you start adding stuff on. So the most expensive ones we do are probably between $200,000 and $300,000 for a given project, but that's complicated, multi-day, multi-location, that kind of thing. And really, we do a lot of really complex stuff. So we did one yesterday where we had teams in 4 cities. There were crowds in 2 cities. They were all interacting, and then they were going out to YouTube. So those are all the kind of things that you can kind of put together. So those are, it definitely is a range. So somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 and $200,000 or $300,000. It just depends on what you're doing. All right, and the average is probably in $20,000, $30,000. Okay, answer. I hope this is the right form to ask this question. Do you have a recommendation for a DSLR for our public library, and this is from Michael Casey, to buy that does good video for use in public service, videos, commercials? Thank you. Yeah, so, I mean, well, what I'll say is that DSLRs are, I would get a D800 or a Canon Mark III. Canon, is that right? Mark III? I have a D800 right now, and that I like to do video with. You could also look at the G4, the Panasonic G4. I have the G3. It shoots really nice video. So those are different options for shooting video. I'm not a big fan of DSLR video anymore. The problem is just lots of little bits and pieces of using one kind of interface, and I don't like HDMI interfaces in general, but using like micro interfaces and all kinds of other stuff. So those are the things that that you have to kind of consider, when you talk about it. So I would think about getting a video camera. Now, if you really want that real short depth of field, then you really have to use the DSLRs, or you spend a little bit more money and get an FS100 or something like that. And Sony makes some kind of good, like full sensor size video cameras, but you're going to find it's a lot easier to use a video camera. Now, what we use a lot of for stuff that we don't care about the really short depth of field is the Canon XF105s, which have an SDI output, and they're little cameras. You put 3 of them into a 1510 and take them out and do a multicam shoot. So they're kind of nifty. So anyway, that's something to consider as well. So, all right. Next question from David Murphy from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. What are you cooking on the egg this weekend? I am not cooking with my egg this weekend because it rained and I didn't cover it up, and now the seal has been rotted, and so it was over the rainy season. Now I have to replace the seal, and I have to scrape it all off and reattach it. And second time I've screwed up the seal. The first time, this is a big green egg, by the way, if people ask me. The first one, I had heated the egg up too much. It was a Steeler game, and I was cooking something over the halftime, and I forgot about it because the Steelers were losing, and then I fused it shut. And so then Tommy Anderson helped me get it undone and get it all working again, and then I rotted it. So now I can't find. I thought I had an extra one, but I don't know where it is. So I'm ordering one. I have an XL, which turns out was good, except for the fact that it's. I thought I'd have lots of parties, and I've used it much more personally. And the problem with the XL is a lot of charcoal to light up every single time, and when you want to fix anything, nothing's conformed because it's unusual to all the other ones. So nothing. But I am going to use a sous vide. I'm cooking. In the next day or two, I'm gonna cook a good tri-tip with my sous vide, and then I'm just gonna fry it. So that's my big plan. All right, next question here. Insert. What is your personal backup strategy and workflow for all the media that you create? Family stuff. So I have. It's family stuff, but it's a little different. But so I have the way I have it right now is I use Dropbox to carry a bunch of the most important stuff that I have, and then I also have I have to admit that I have an offsite drive that I put a lot of the files on, and then at the house I have the drive, pretty fast drive that I have connected for Aperture. I'm slowly trying to figure out whether I stay with Aperture or not, but right now I have it, and I keep a lot of the files there, but then I back those up to a Drobo. So, and I've got a bunch of older Drobos that are all kind of tied together with different things and on all the time, and I kind of pass things on to those. So anyway, so that's kind of how I keep it. It definitely, things that are important are worth having in a couple of different places. And then the one thing I definitely do is I give my wife a lot of the stuff that she really likes quickly, or as quickly as I can, so that I'm not the only one with it, and then she passes it on to the family, and so those photos go out to lots of people very quickly. So part of it is obviously having a great backup strategy. But for the most important photos, try to make sure that as many people have them as possible. That's what we used to do. We used to print them and have them, and then they're around everywhere. And we try to do that. They're full res. So anyway, that's what I do. Let's see here. Answer. This is from Justin Clayton in Alexander City, Alabama. What do you recommend for just streaming audio? I work with a radio network that streams high school championship games. How can I make the stream the most reliable and able to handle thousands of listeners at once? Thousands of listeners at once. That's the tricky part. The streams aren't very big. Thousands is a lot. You may want to use, I think it's, let's see, I'm going to date myself. I have not had to produce a stream for a long time. We have done streams, but what we've mostly used is in the past what we've done is used, I don't think this is live. I thought for some reason we used SoundCloud, but I don't think we did, because I don't think it does live. I'm just trying to remember. I don't think, it's, so we have used there's just uploads, I think, yeah. So I'm not sure. So there was Shoutcast. I don't know if that's still around. The last time I had to do one where we were managing it was a long time ago. Shoutcast Radio. I believe we used that at some point. We have a stream media over the internet. Shoutcast.com has kind of radio stations here, and I thought that we were able to do it there. But the reason I'm confused is because we mostly, when we have to do this, we're integrating with we are integrating typically with XM or Sirius, and so we have to send them a stream. You know, so we send one stream to them, and then they do whatever they do to it, and it ends up in the car. So, so I haven't had to, you know, we have a hardware appliance that I can't remember the name of that we'll do an Ask John sometime. Remember what that is? So we have a hardware appliance in our studio that that is just, that's all it does, is stream audio, and so that's mostly what we've used. There is a little app on the Mac that we used to use to stream out to the Pixel 4, and I just can't remember it off the top of my head, which is pretty embarrassing. But again, we just haven't had to do a lot of audio podcasting. It's a good question, and ask that next time I do it, and I'll have an answer, because it is something I'm trying to figure out for a variety of reasons. All right, probably good to ask Leo on that one. All right, next one. Sure. This is from Tim Schultz. He said, "Hey Alex, this is pretty fascinating. So considering the OpenGL benchmarks on the average $1,600 PC with a GTX 770 getting about 130 frames per second in Cinebench R15 versus the new Mac Pro only getting 90 frames per second, do you think the Mac Pro is the way to go? It really depends on the apps." So this is for Tim Schultz in Los Angeles. It really only it depends on the you know, on what application you're using. Obviously, if you're using Final Cut, you're stuck. You know, I think that there's probably some beefier systems that you could buy. We're going to test some soon that are coming out. Some beefy systems that have lots of processors. You know, the big thing with the Mac is that there's just a lot of, you know, Thunderbolt. There's all kinds of little extras. If you're looking for pure, you know, stock car, you know, I'm going to build it all up, I'm sure you can get a better performing box. But I think that you really have to look at all the apps you're going to use and how you're going to use them, and whether that makes sense. And we definitely have some PCs and some Linux boxes that we use for specific things. And we don't actually have any Mac Pros yet. I haven't really felt like we needed them yet. We have a lot of Retinas, but we're looking at getting them. But those are the kind of considerations that we have right now. But we're also looking at these FX PCs because we want to be able to handle lots of live video coming through, and we're going to do some tests. But stay tuned for that. All right, next question. Answer. Roy Leggard from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, says, "Do you have a specific book you can recommend on learning Photoshop from the ground up?" I have not read a book to get off the ground with Photoshop in maybe a decade. So really, the videos, and really what I would suggest is, I'm probably going to do another disc at some point, or I'm going to do it on lynda.com or something like that. But I think lynda.com is probably the best place to look. I'm probably going to do something somewhere sometime soon, mostly because we need certain things trained. One of the things we're going to be doing in the Pixel Core is getting a lot of people up to speed in Rwanda, and we are going to slowly open that up to everyone else, so you'll be able to subscribe to the Pixel Core or something like it for the African training program. So keep your eye out for that. What we're looking at doing is opening up the African training program so you get to be part of the classes using this system while I'm training them and doing little tutorials, and you'll get all the same challenges and tutorials and videos and everything else. But we will always tell you that you can also find more if you go to lynda.com, because we're not going to reproduce what Lynda does anymore. So that's a great resource, and that's probably what I would do before I bought a book. All right. Let's see. Comment about the system. It lets me upvote my own question. I think you should. This is from Stephen Hart in Canada. I think you should be able to upload your own question, because you're showing that you're excited about your own question. There's many questions that I've asked that I later wished I had downvoted. So anyway, I think that's fine. But we'll think about it. It's a good point. I'll talk to Andy about it. Next question: what exactly is this system that you're texting? I take it that I will be able to review the cast on YouTube afterwards. You will be able to, and what's really cool about it is you will be able to see when I answered your question as I answered it, and you'll get all the little time setups and stuff like that. This is kind of the brand new version. So anyway, so stay tuned for that. It's pretty cool. Try the iPad view. Whoa! Now I'm in the iPad view. Andy, this looks great. All right. Anyway, sorry. Next answer. It won't let me pop out of the video player. So Andy will do that. This is the first time we've ever used this version, ever. So you guys are all guinea pigs. Thank you. We'll take a look at that. And, next one. Let's So this is from Will DeWitt from Valdosta, is that right? Valdosta, Georgia. Could you recommend good gear technique-based podcast like This Week in Media started off as? Can you recommend, a good gear technique-based podcast? Okay. Like what This Week in Media started off with. Yeah, I mean, This Week in Media really started off with a handful of PR40s, some X2Us, or I think a USB, eventually USB pre's. It's pretty much all we use for audio now. In Skype, and we basically used Ecamm's Skype recorder to record everyone what we call double N, so that we could all talk to each other, but we'd record local versions, and we'd all upload them to an FTP, and then we'd all download them, and then we'd edit them together, and then call it a day. That's what we did at the beginning, or we just record Skype all together. This Week in Photography uses Hangouts now, which works really well, and so you can just record the whole thing in video and then also in audio. So that's what we're using there, but it really doesn't take much more than a webcam and a good, really just pay attention to the audio, unlike I am today. Today is like me just turning on the computer and starting to talk because I'm testing a system. But typically I would have a microphone and a headset and kinds of things and lights and everything else, but I don't have that right now. So anyway, I'm just, but I'm really glad you're still putting up with it. So anyway, so let's get it done. Next answer. What is your experience live streaming over LTE? I've had some success with Verizon. This is from Grant Whitehead. I haven't done a lot of streaming over LTE. The only time when we do it over LTE, we have a bunch of modems. So we use a live view, and it lets us take 6 modems and stream them all to LTE, but all together. It's Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile. Get them all, and so that's kind of how we manage that. And so I haven't done any single ones. I have a Bond at home that I have to get working. I've had it for a long time. It's kind of embarrassing. It's a Teradexer, like these little dudes here. Got a bunch of these. So anyway, that's not a Bond. That's just a Bond. That's just a cube, but we use them to pass video around. So next question. This is from Jim Schultz in Los Angeles. What's your average Cinema 4D setup? I'm assuming you're asking for the hardware. My average Cinema 4D setup for hardware is a Retina. That's pretty much what I work off of. So someday I'll have more, but a Retina that's pretty well decked out, SSD and lots of RAM. Oops. I went to hit done and it hit something. Next question. From Roy Leggard from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. It said, a while ago you mentioned wanting an app that let you play, pause, annotate video, and have those commands reflected on remote computers for training sessions. Did you ever find anything? If not, I have some time available to work on such an app. We should talk. Email me or reply. Ping me through G+ or something like that, and we'll talk. We'll talk about that. I'm definitely looking for something like that. All right. Next question, answer. This is from Jean-Francois. Is that right, Francis? So, sorry, I'm not very good. I know you're in France, but I think that's your last name. I apologize if I didn't do that well. Feed is not as good as previously here in France. Lots of spinning wheel and blurry image, but amazing sound sync keeps up with consistently low video frame rate. Yeah, they're working on the sound sync, I think, and so it's definitely getting much better. So that's a good thing. Wish the video was better. Sorry about that. I don't know why it should be slow. You should be getting good game. If other people are having that, let me know. So, all right. Next question. Next answer. I'm running out of answers. Let's see here. So this is from Rob Ballantyne from Bowen Island, British Columbia, Canada. Okay, it is a question session. Then what are your expectations for it? Exactly what we got. That's all I got to say. This is exactly what I needed, is a bunch of people to jump up, ask a bunch of questions for about a half an hour, and then for me to answer them. And then I'm figuring out whether whether we like the system. And then what's going to happen is that Andy and I will have a bunch of meetings and talk about stuff and talk about what's working, not working. And you'll give me more feedback, and then we'll do it again in the next day or two. Now that we have a new version, you'll probably have a lot of Ask-Alex's for a while because I'm trying to figure stuff out. All right, let me see here. So next question. Jeff Crow from Idaho, USA, says, having a couple of days to ponder the keynote from WWDC, what are you most excited about now? Still think I'm most excited about, as I said before, I am most excited really about the home automation stuff. I've been dying to get home automation. I've been dying to get that working, and the idea that I could actually do that is exciting. So anyway, that's what I'm most excited about when it comes to the new stuff. I think Swift is going to be exciting. I think that a lot of the little app things that they're adding, extensions, are going to be exciting. There's a lot of, it's pretty action-packed. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of hardware we get. The interesting thing about home automation is the question is now that Apple's created that, how much are they going to do themselves? I mean, do they start making items and so on and so forth that all tie into that one piece at a time? They have made speakers, they make monitors, they could make TVs, they could, but I mean, where do they go with that? And so it'll be very interesting to see, whether there's enough uptake by the industry to do that. I think CES is where we're going to see a lot of that roll out. So Apple's going to roll out the system in the fall. There'll be a couple people jumping into it. But I think a lot of people are going to be really excited about CES. And I think one of the things about it is that, Apple, has collected a lot of the people that spend a lot of money. So it's a lot of people that are really excited are people who want to sell, high-end gear, extra for a little bit more software, that kind of thing. All right. Next question is from Chad, T-Chad Moore, and he said, "Hi, Alex. I'm on the Red Line Metro to Silver Spring now, and the stream looks good. Am I streaming from D.C.? I'm not streaming from D.C. I'm in Petaluma, California, but hopefully I'll be in D.C. soon." So. Oh no, I'm out of water. Anyway, so I'm out of questions and out of voice here in a second. But no, I'm not streaming from DC. We do a lot of streams from DC, but I'm in Petaluma, in between things. Anyway, so that's the. Let's see, next answer. This might be the last one. Grant Whitehead. We have issues with low-level embedded SDI audio through the Blackmagic Intensity to Wirecast. Coming from the TriCaster at 0 dB, any suggestions? Love the enhancements to the comment system. Thank you. The Facebook, Twitter login worked great. Excellent. All right. So I wonder if that's why we're not getting information about people. Interesting. Anyway, so the issues with low-level SDI. I don't know. I don't know if you've looked in the. There may be some standard settings within the Blackmagic setup. Let's see here. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like there's any settings that would give you that control or that problem. I don't know why you get low. Now the big thing is, I would try it with a couple different things. Now we've got lots of SDI interfaces here, but I would try to find something like that. I'm gonna lose my voice. I don't have any water. I would try to find something else to test it so that you can get a so that you can figure that out to make sure that it's not just the TriCaster. What you want to do is have the TriCaster generate tone at -18 and see if you're really getting that. But I don't know enough about the TriCaster embedded audio to know what it's actually doing on its end either. So that'd be the thing to do. And what I probably do is plug it into something. What we would do is plug it into something like PIX, and then look at where its levels are, to see what's going on. Sorry, I don't have a better answer. All right. Could be the last question. If I answer this question before I get another question, then this is it. Stephen Hart from Canada asked, do you use the iFi at all? I have a couple iFis. What I really like to do was have an iFi connected to a MiFi while I'm driving around so that I could take pictures and have them all appear. But I haven't used it heavily. It was a little slow, and I had trouble setting it up. So, I mean, they're cool, but I haven't used them a ton. So, all right, next answer. This is from Jean-Francois, I believe, from France. What's the French legacy in Rwanda? That's a whole show in itself. The French were there. The French were friends with the previous power, and did a lot of damage. I mean, basically, when the RPF came from Uganda, the only reason they didn't just march right into Kigali and stop the genocide was primarily because the French sent paratroopers in to protect genocidaires, which is it's a bummer. So anyway, so there's kind of a tenuous relationship, and then the French claimed that Kagame shot down the jet, which he didn't, and a lot of people have decided that they didn't anyway, and there's a lot of pushback and forth, but there's a lot of people died because of what they did there, but that's what the French government did. It's not what the French people did. There was a bunch of decisions made by people who, at the time, I'm sure had whatever reasons they had. We didn't go in and do anything about it either, so there's the whole U.S. legacy. So it's also why, obviously a lot of people step lightly when talking about dropping funding or clamping on Rwanda for any reason, because, they all really screwed up, So anyway, that's it. And, the country is growing very quickly and I'm there every 6 to 8 weeks. It's just really amazing to see what's happening there. So really, it's great. It's a great country. A lot of countries are great. I go to a lot of great countries, but it's just an amazing country to watch evolve. So that's all I gotta say. All right. Next one from Eugene Francois. The question should be editable. Yep. We'll work on that. All right. And from Mina. Hi, Mina from Oakland. Habari, Alex, how are you? Have you given thought to using Oculus-like system in education? Like Rwanda? And the answer is definitely yes. One of the things we want to use is glass, and I'm going to try to get another glass unit before I leave for Rwanda again to start doing like point-to-point between the U.S. and Rwanda. So we really think that glass is the beginning, but I think that there's huge opportunities for an Oculus system. There have been some discussions about an entire classroom of Oculus where you could, I could be teaching a class and they could watch it and they could see it all and they could look around, and there's a lot of options there. So we'll see. I think for distributed classrooms, I think you could really, as that technology evolves, I think it could change everything. So good question. And you need to pop sometime. That's all I gotta say. All right. Next answer. From Robert Ballantyne from Bowen Island, British Columbia, Canada. Are you going to make this question system available for free or for sale? Am I correct? The written questions seem not to be synced with the video. Yes, I want something like this. Thanks. So yeah, we're going to make it available. This is us turning this into a product over time, then making it better, and it works a lot better, by the way, Andy, than the last version. This is, in my head, I don't know what version this is in Andy's head. In my head, this is 3.2, because the very first version was built on years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It was built on top of Salesforce. They had a thing called Ideas, and then we did it for a project, and then the second one was just kind of hacked together and on a web servers. That was version 2 in my head, and then this is version 3.2. So anyway, so that's what in my head that's what it looks like. Andy probably has 1.1 or 1.15, 0.6 or something like that. So anyway, but we are going to make it available. What we're trying to figure out right now is this is all sitting on a cloud server. We're trying to figure out how much does it cost, how many dynos does it use, how many, like all that stuff, and then also just what makes sense. So we're trying to sort out the issues there. We definitely let us know what your questions are and your comments about it, because it's something that we're spending a lot of time and money and all kinds of other stuff working on it. So hopefully you guys like it, and make sure to come back. If you come back to this page, one of the things you're going to see is that it takes all these questions, and as I hit answer and done, it keeps track of them, so you can go back and watch them from the YouTube perspective. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, I think that is it. We ran out of questions. But we are going to make it available. I don't know exactly when. A lot of it's just right now we don't have the administration tools. We have all this stuff. We just have something that works really well, and so we're kind of playing with it right now. So I think this was a great test. Thank you everyone for playing along with my craziness and our craziness, and we will do this. Can't reply to questions. You can't. I can. You can. Sorry. So watch this. Anyway, so we're working on making that, figuring that all out about how that interacts. But it is a thing we're working on trying to figure out. So, anyways, stay tuned for that. But you'll notice that now you can see whether we did it by text or whether we did it by. And but I do think that having threads and so on and so forth make a lot of sense. And, there's a lot of conversations about that. So anyway, that's it. Calling it. Thank you so much, and I will. I'm sure that we will all see each other again soon. But thank you so much, and we'll do it again in the next within the next week, probably once or twice. Thanks.